Hello, it's time, and we are back. I'm your host, Johnny Gomes, two-time World Series champ. And of course, we have the brains behind all this, S2 Cognition, with the founders of Brandon and Scott, along with me to break down some of the most elite plays. Brandon and Scott, check it out. I don't know if there's a bigger name on the planet right now than this gal, Caitlin Clark. I mean, she's doing some big things. She had a three-point contest against Steph Curry, going head-to-head with Steph Curry. And a lot of people were picking her to win. So, I mean, let's just break down what's happening. I mean, we're watching something that we've never seen in women's basketball history.
Yeah, I definitely jumped on the bandwagon during the March Madness run and watched a lot of Caitlin Clark. And obviously, you see her do some crazy things in these clips. Shooting is something, Scott probably has a little bit of expertise here in this motor control and motor repetition and motor learning and things like that. But from a visual standpoint, it's definitely a skill of Caitlin Clark's. I mean, she processes things visually very quickly. She reads defenses very quickly. She has unbelievable, we term it court vision, right? But the ability to broaden her attention, see where all of her teammates are, see where open passing lanes are, see where open court is to drive, and the ability to just locate teammates very quickly. She's not only an elite shooter, I think it doesn't get talked about enough. She's an elite passer too. I mean, she finds teammates very quickly, has that sort of eyes in the back of her head feel. Scott and I talk about that visual learning piece where you take this snapshot, really have a representation sort of mentally of where teammates are, where opponents are, and just quickly find them. Just an unbelievable athlete from a cognitive standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, her processing of the visual court is unbelievable, but it's not enough just to process what you see. You've got to be able to translate that into action and split-second control of your actions. And you'll see from Caitlin this uncanny ability to just make little moves, little subtle moves, time her movements and her reactions to buy daylight, to create daylight. Just a little step back, little move to the left, dribble around a screen, stop, pop back. I mean, she's not only seeing the court, but she has incredible control over her actions, reactions, and can change them in an instant.
Yeah, Scott, something we talked about when we were watching that clip with Messi last week, and Caitlin seems to do this as well. These elite athletes are able to use these just subtle body movements, or it's not like the old days, just like a head fake. They're actually using the ball in the way that they dribble or the way that they move, or to get, like you said, just buy a little extra time or get a little bit of an opening to take advantage of, like Messi with the goalie here, and you see Caitlin doing it here. I mean, she is just making defenders who are elite defenders take a split second to go the wrong way, and she just is able to control all of this while maintaining the idea that, okay, as soon as they bounce here, I'm going to dribble here, I'm going to shoot. It's just really remarkable.
Yeah, when you really start breaking down the unique aspects of being on offense and say, oh, here she has the ball. She has the opportunity to create opportunities here and to see how the opponents are moving, how our teammates are screening, and do little things, just kind of set like she's going to shoot, and then little head pump to get the defender to fly by, and then cross step. So creating in a kind of a proactive way is one element, but then there's a reactive element, going up for the shot and then having a hand in your face. We talked about that a week or two ago when we saw a drive to the glass and switching hands and coming underneath and off the glass. That reactive ability. So it's both proactive in the decision-making control and reactive. And that's what separates some of the best point guards on the court.
Yeah, proactive and reactive, right? I mean, how do you practice that? I'm sure S2 Cognition's got plenty of ways to do it, but however you describe it, what a remarkable talent, fun to watch, and fun to watch her career so far this early. All right, Brandon and Scott, let's do America's pastime, little baseball. Now, what we're going to watch here from Kevin Pillar is not something that you're going to see in every single Major League Baseball game. You're going to see some hits, some swing and misses, some strikeouts. But when you got the opportunity to go to a ball game and watch a dude climb the wall like Spider-Man, grab that glove over it and bring back a home run, I mean, this guy's running full speed into a wall and decides to climb it. Now, what is going on in this young man's head to think this is even a possibility and then to execute?
Yeah, the two main things for me, especially as a visual person, you have to really, your brain is doing these calculations of where something is going to land in space. So estimating the trajectory of the ball, where that ball will ultimately land, you have to run to that point, which is not an easy task. We've often heard, or we actually heard a coach call an outfielder one time Magellan, because he would run off course, back on course, off course, back on course. These guys that can get to a spot without having to readjust all the time. You look at him here, he's looking down. He's not even looking at the ball because he had this mental representation of where that ball was going to land in space. And then the other thing he's doing here, he's got to time. He's got to time the jump just perfectly. We call that coincident timing, something we measure in hitters. He had to time that jump just perfectly to when that ball was going to be in a place that he could actually catch that. That is quite remarkable. The brain making all of these calculations in less than a second is just, it's quite remarkable.
Yeah, you think about that. If he is even off by a degree or two in his judgment of where that ball is, when he puts his head down and scales the fence, I mean, he may be out of position. If he's off in his timing by a few tens of milliseconds, he's on his way down and misses the ball, or because he gets there too early or he's too late. This is an unbelievable, what we would call, to nerd out just for a second, spatial temporal processing skill. He has this incredible precision with the spatial aspects of where that ball is going to be, and the temporal is the timing. He puts those together. This is unbelievable and incredibly difficult. He makes it look easy.
Yeah, that's amazing right there, Scott. I love when you nerd out for us, too. That fires me up. I mean, this guy's catching a ball at 330 feet, right? So this ball started 330 feet away from him, and he's got to climb a 90-degree wall, jump up, elevate, and catch it. I mean, if Kevin Pillar is not a pitcher's best friend, I don't know where we're at. And here we go on the NFL gridiron with Lamar Jackson. The quad threat with his feet, with his hands, and with his brain. I mean, when you got guys that are upwards of 300 pounds running 4.4, 4.3 40s on you, not only is your life on the line, but you still have to make a play. We got a lot of side-to-side action. We're throwing on the run. We're going north. We're going south. This is what we call an unbelievably athletic play. There's probably about 4 in the country that are able to do this. We're seeing this with our own eyes right now. Scott, Brandon, break down what's happening inside his head as he is running for his life.
Well, I'll go ahead and jump in on the visual side and let Scott handle the motor control side, because there's a lot going on that we can unfold in this clip. From a visual perspective, just Lamar's ability to see the entire field. Obviously, he's keeping track of not only where his guys are and where the defensive backs are, but he's also got a feel in his periphery here about when the pocket is collapsing, guys closing in on him, how much time he needs. So he is processing visually just a lot of different unique things that are going on. Not only broadening intention to see the whole field, but man, he's got to search, right? He's trying to locate the guy who's open. Which of my receivers is open here? So he's constantly broadening attention and then narrowing his attention. And then just shifting back and forth from a visual standpoint. It's just really remarkable how he can do that, as well as just sort of stay calm under pressure. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot in basketball, if you will, and that would be like court awareness. I mean, the court awareness that you have to have on a football field here is second to none. And you don't get this at the combine, right? You can't test this at the combine. I mean, S2Cognition.com, of course, we can run some tests on you with this, but this is something special that you can only get in-game.
Yeah, this is, just the complexity in which he is processing information that's changing so fast is impressive. And we know a little something about Lamar Jackson. This guy is wired differently. He can process things, but you think about the action control and the motor control. He's not only, focusing his attention downfield and in his periphery, but he has to move based on what the defense and the shifting is doing. You see, he starts to see a window, thought about running, did a little fake pump. I mean, he is coordinating his actions. He's controlling his impulse to want to, scramble, improvising to get back around his defender. He has an awareness of where not only the defense is, but where his blockers are, and is able to maneuver his decisions and actions around that scenario to buy a little more time. It's all about buying time. And if there's one dude who can buy time, it's Lamar Jackson.
It's unreal. Johnny, we hear, and I'm talking to one of the greats here, we hear, and depending on the day, Scott and I argue about hitting a baseball is probably one of the most difficult things to do in all of sport. What do we think about this? Coming from a guy who has done the most difficult thing in sport, what do you think about this kind of behavior, this kind of action, reaction? I know it's not akin to what a hitter does, but obviously you've got to be athletic as well on the diamond.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about hitting a round ball with a round bat coming at you 90 plus miles per hour, we can break down the reaction time. Not only is it coming in 90 miles per hour plus, we don't know if it's up, down, in, out, a ball. There's also horizontal and vertical movement that we're able to add into that too. But us baseball players, we don't have this side-to-side mobility that much on the fly, right? Just mono-a-mono, hitter versus pitcher, not a lot of east-west, even north-south, right? And then when we are running the bases, it's almost like NASCAR. We're always making left-hand turns, So we don't have this skill set by any means. And I don't know if this guy can hit a fastball, but I'm pretty sure there's not many baseball players that can make this play, nor even in the NFL. I mean, you got 32 NFL teams. You probably got about 2 or 3 guys that can make this play.
Johnny, it's funny. I think you're right. I mean, most of baseball is pretty linear, although once in a while you see little examples of this. A dude sliding into third base, and he is able to rapidly detect the placement of the third baseman's glove and then adjust his slide to miss the tag and get the hand on the bag. Or I remember this play that just burned in my mind. It was unbelievable. There was a throw to the plate from the outfield. It was off target, and Jeter, I believe it was Derek Jeter, caught the ball with his back to the plate and then instinctively improvised and flipped the ball behind his back and threw the guy out trying to score at home. So those happen. This is the state of every play and the demands of every play on the football field or on ice hockey, basketball. But yeah, baseball, it happens here and there. But yeah, not every play like this.
Yeah, this is it. I'm sure there's a ton of defensive coordinators watching this play and just scratching their head, just going like, how are we going to defend this? And at the end of the day, you can't. You just hope he makes a bad throw. And then when he makes a great throw like this, I guess you just got to tip your hat and hope you don't get 7 out of it. Brandon Scott learned a lot today, and I can't wait to keep this going. Going to get some more clips to get him in front of you. and just break it down, right? Just break it down from a cognitive side, what's really going on. We see the athletic stuff, obviously, every night, but it's pretty cool watching you guys break down these clips.